Hey guys, this is Josh,
And Zach.
and this is my buddy Zach, and we're going to go through kind of a bombshell that just came out of nowhere and exploded in our faces today. We're talking about the August 3rd ban and restricted announcement. Um, and we'll just start from the top of the list here in standard. Uh, Number one on that list is Wilderness Reclamation. It's not in alphabetical order, so I wonder if it was in order of biggest offenders.
Oh, I think it was. I mean, if you looked at like the way the Magic actually rolled it out when they said about it was 63 plus percent, right? 63 plus, and I say plus because like they posted at 63. But you and I both know the amount of people that have actually been playing it
Right.
in order to get to those ranks for like
Yeah.
the players stuff.
And I was guilty of
It's
that
way
too. I was
beyond.
one of those degenerate people abusing that. So,
Yeah.
but you
You're
stayed
you
true
were
to
in
form. You're like, no, never.
You were an obnoxious butthole
I was one of
that
those
stuck.
obnoxious buttholes abusing Wilderness Rec. Yes, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, free mana is always problematic. I think there's lots of cards out there that oh, I've just doubled my mana pool, and the limitation of playing only instant speed spells, that sometimes that's actually an advantage. A lot of decks love to like basically your end step is my office. That's when I do my work is on your end step. So that
Right.
was
I mean,
Wilderness
you look at
Reclamation.
Simic Flash and the way that even Simic Flash without Wilderness Reclamation
Right.
had like a foothold, right?
Yeah.
But then like you give the opportunity to have all of your mana all the time.
Yeah.
It was obnoxious. So it was surprising that Wilderness Reclamation made it through when Fires did not, you
Yeah,
know?
I was definitely thinking like last round of bans when they were talking about. I said maybe Luca. I thought Luca put Agent of Treachery over the top. I thought Agent of Treachery was a little bit more fair in decks that couldn't cheat him out that quick. But I definitely thought Wilderness Rec along with Fire should have been banned. They're the same kind of card. They offer this huge mana advantage, both of them. So
Yeah, they were identical. So the
yeah.
biggest the biggest ban uh one that I will transition to from there, right? So we talk about like the things that we know that we thought, right?
Yeah.
Biggest ban surprise for me, growth spiral.
I I mean the
Growth spiral.
well, yeah, I mean, it's funny because like rampant growth was never problematic, but I think the fact that growth spiral is instant speed is what put it over the top. Like they're not going to ever ban explore in historic. It's just the fact that it's instant speed is what made it so good because
Yeah,
you can like sit there and wait till their end step and either count any spells they play on their main step or their post combat step, and then you can growth spiral or not. That it gives you so many options. That's why.
it does, but as such like a simple as like one of the most simple spells like
Right.
and we go back to our discussion when you first saw the fact that growth spirals
Hmm.
being printed and you
Right.
were like this is it, this is the best card
Right.
that's ever hit standard ever you know
I
and
was very excited about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I mean ramp for days,
Yeah.
but like to ban it is really, really weird. Like they took one of the key features. Actually, they took two of the key features out of it,
Yeah.
right? But they left one big one still in play, right? So they take away Wilderness Rec, they take away Growth Spiral, but
Yeah.
what do they leave?
You talking about Nissa?
No, 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 no. Forget Nissa.
Yeah. Uro.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Uro. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Uro, like, it's funny, like, you watch, like, the Wilderness Rec mirror match, and round two, they would often sideboard out the Uro because it was so dangerous to tap out on turn 3 to play an Uro because then your opponent on turn 4 could just plop down a wreck and laugh at you. I mean, assuming you didn't have, like, no, even with the Mystic Dispute. But now that Wilderness Rec's out, I mean, I think Arrow is going to be, you're right. He's going to be all over the place. He's still a really solid ramp card, really, really shuts down aggro decks because he comes out so quick. He's such a big body, and that through life gain is very vital, like just to staying alive. So you're right. He's probably, I
Right.
mean, on if you just look at it like in a vacuum, I think Uro is obviously more powerful than Growth Spiral. It's just that Growth Spiral in that meta with Wilderness Rec, we'll see if it's overkill.
Well, they were looking at turn two. They were looking at turn two. That's what they were doing. They were saying, okay, turn two ramps you up to turn four, right?
Right.
And Uro is something that at least at this point on turn three or turn two
Right.
doesn't have like that 6 mana impact, and there's enough things to be able to remove him from the graveyard. That was
Right.
their whole thought.
Yeah.
Their whole thought
The
was
print
that
scavenging ooze, that was a big one. Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
You know, you've got Tormund's Crypt now for
Yep.
0. You've
Mhm.
got Soul Guide Lantern.
Yep.
You've got a bunch of different like ways to basically take Uro out.
Yeah.
However,
But you were onto something there on your last point. You said, from especially with these Simic decks, getting from 3 to 5 mana is not nearly as a big deal as getting from 2 to 4, because 4 mana is where the magic happened. That was Night Pack Ambusher. That was Reclamation. So getting to 5
right.
is like, I guess, Nissa, but I mean that's it. But other than that, a lot of stuff's not as important.
But even now, so like what you're looking at is you go 1 Grazer,
Mm-hmm.
2 Uro,
Yeah.
and then you're playing Cultivates,
Yeah.
or you're going right into Nissa, and then you're going into Ugin. Like
Yeah.
that's really the direction that you're going.
Yeah.
And even if you want to start expanding that, and most people aren't the Urian deck that we were seeing when Urian first came out before they nerfed companions.
Right.
But like we're still seeing that same sort of sensibility of we're going 3 colors and it's based off of Simic.
Yeah, it's blue, green, and then whatever. Blue, green, X. Blue, green, black. Blue, green, white. Whatever. But blue and green are
Blue,
going to be in
green,
there.
red, and they're going to make it work.
Yeah.
The whole elementals is still entirely plausible.
And as my favorite color in Magic being green and my second favorite color being blue, I was happy for a while, but even I am tired of blue, green, everything. And I also don't like it when everybody else is on the same colors you're on. So, I'm not sad. I am not sad about either of these bands. You're right. Grossfire is a little more surprising, but to me, honestly, I was much more surprised by Veil of Summer. I still can't get over Veil of Summer being banned. Like, nobody else agrees with me, but I'm like, really? So you're going to leave Ethergust in the format. You're going to leave Noxious Grasp in the format. But Veil of Summer, that puts it over the top, especially when Teferi was a thing. I mean, Teferi blanks that card so hard, but Noxious Grasp and Ethergust can still be cast on your turn and not without issue. So why is Veil of Summer the bad guy? I don't know. It's just because green was so powerful.
It really goes back to that idea, like blue is such a bad guy, right? Yeah. Blue is such a bad guy that they had to get nerfed.
Yeah.
By the only thing that nerfed them.
Yeah.
So we'll give you a 4-drop of the Ceratops, right? Yeah. That's about all we'll give you. You know.
Because all the pros were saying green was getting pushed too hard. I guess that's it. And that's what they banned Once Upon a Time. And I mean, everybody agrees that Oko was a mistake, but I still don't get, I guess Once Upon a Time, free is free. That's nice. But I'm still, maybe they should unban Veil of Summer. I'm just saying.
But I think it's funny because like what Oko did, they've already printed about like 5 other things that take care of Oko now.
Yeah. Right? But it's just, if you don't draw those things, he just takes over the game so quickly,
Exactly.
And he was even good in like
with
the
Wilderness Rec
formats.
or anything else.
Yeah.
Like there's no point to it. If the only thing that you're doing is making a card to defeat another card, and that's like where we're at in Magic right now.
Yeah.
There's too much power creep. So we constantly look at the next card that only beats the other card.
Right.
Like right now, what have we removed? We removed everything. And the one thing we haven't talked about is T3, right?
Yes, which I like to call, what is it, the tall, we're talking about the Starbucks sizes, tall, venti,
venti and yeah.
I know people call him T3. I'm going to try to do with the coffee thing here. So, yeah. But is anybody sad to see this guy go? I mean, I am sad to see him go in some ways because I don't think anybody likes to play against those mono blue tempo decks that just hold up counter spells forever and just whittle you down. It's a very frustrating play style for a lot of players. And Teferi was really good at stopping that. And Teferi was holding Wilderness Rec, or trying to hold it into check. Even I thought that guy with the 4-color Rec deck that was jamming Teferi to counter the Rec. But then they printed Shark Typhoon, so I guess that, I don't know.
That was the thing that was always funny for me too. It's like, okay, Teferi's great, but yet we still have Brazen Borrower,
Yeah.
we still have, and now they printed the new guy, the legendary dude that bounces things.
Yeah.
Uh, Forget his name, but
Toleran or Baron or something like that. Yeah, I know
yeah,
you're talking about the
still
certain.
he's a 3 drop. He
Yeah.
bounces whatever he wants. It's not continual, but it's the same thing that Teferi did, right?
Yeah. I thought I
It
saw
it
something pretty insightful from Mono Black Magic. We know one of the YouTubers. He was saying that if Teferi would have been balanced, if you could have targeted only your opponent's stuff. I think that was the other thing. Like he's so flexible. He's so good in so many situations. Like, oh, I'm going to bounce my ECD, or I'm going to
Yep.
bounce, my Yorian.
Yeah.
That loop is
Or anything that somebody has enchanted, like
yes.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's so flexible. I mean, he was format warping. I kept on saying that. Like, one of your favorite blue cards.
Oh,
I can't remember the name of it now. What's the blue card that you love so much?
no, dude.
Got that amass.
Yeah. Hang on.
Look it up
I'm
here.
gonna find it.
We can always cut this out in post, right?
No, no, we can't cut this out post. Hexproof.
Yeah.
Hexproof.
It wasn't hexproof. Is it hexproof? Yeah, it's probably hexproof.
It is hexproof because
Yeah.
it's the whole thing. Lazotep's plating.
Lazotep's plating from War of Spark, which was conveniently printed along in the same set that Teferi Time Raveler came out. So I told
Which was
Zach,
one of the ultimately best cards.
Yeah.
Ultimately best cards that Magic ever decided to print. They printed it right alongside
the card that
with
totally
the only
blanks
thing
it.
that would totally nerf it.
Yeah. I mean, because it is a good card. It is probably a 2-card advantage. You're getting a 1/1 token, and you're likely shutting down, especially if you hold up against like something like Casualties of War. That's hilarious, and it was good against counterspells too. I mean, not counterspells,
Right.
discards Magic as well. So it was a fun card, and yeah, we maybe in this last grasp of this pre-rotation, you can give Lazotep a spin again. Now that Teferi is out of the picture.
In the same light, they had the Starlight Mantle, right, from Theros, which was a flash enchantment, which gave hexproof and 1/1 to something, right? So you have this blue mentality for hexproof, like on the fly,
right?
And
the same goes for like white and green now too. Like they have the heroic intervention. They have the
oh yes,
the one that gives indestructibility for white, then a token. I can't remember that one's called. Let me look it up here. Oh, Unbreakable Formation. Great card too, but Teferi blanked that. And not to mention I think there's going to be room for creatures that are 3-drops that don't necessarily have enter the battle abilities. I might be being too optimistic, but it always felt bad to play a creature that doesn't have an enter the battlefield ability because of it getting bounced by Teferi. Like if it doesn't have haste or it didn't provide some sort of value, I think we'll see more of that now. And we're going to see more mid-range decks that were being kept down by cards like Teferi.
Well, I'll tell you, through the afternoon, just playing through, and as
by the way, Diamond already so quickly. I'm impressed.
It was something that I was looking at. As soon as everything rotated, we went to the new season. I started to, I was playing a deck that was basically an enchantment deck. It was an Orzhov enchantment deck. That was something that I had sitting on the back burner for a long time, and it's really powerful. So Josh and I were talking about it, and we went through a couple like play tests, but like the big thing was these enchantment decks can be so powerful so quick depending on how you actually work them, because there's a lot of like recursion which takes place. There's an Orzhov, and then there's also the Golgari. There's a lot of like graveyard recursion, or like enchantments coming back.
A lot of card draw too, value that way as well. So
I played that up through. I got to Diamond. I was watching Crow Keys today, and he was brewing all sorts of stuff. Like he was watching his streamers, everybody was telling him how to brew stuff, and he continuously went back to Silesian, or he went to like some Simic like base.
Yeah, I've been playing green white too, man. Like that's been the worst color combo for 3 years now. Like it's been unplayable most of the time, and like Yeah, I was
Right.
actually having some success with it. I won 4 games in a row with it, or 4 matches in a row
Well,
with it.
I don't know if you saw it, but he started playing today. It was an adventures deck. It was a
Mm.
Silesian adventures deck.
That used to
And
be a thing. Well, actually, it was like a mono. No, it was green white adventures deck that just had a bunch of really quick stuff, and then you get the village innkeeper, and you just draw a bajillion cards, and you have. Yeah, that was a deck for like 2 days. It was actually pretty good.
no, but guess what? I lost. I lost with my Orzhov deck
Yeah,
um to a 4-color adventures deck.
four color. Well, I mean now there's triomes or triomes or whatever we call them.
Yeah, we call them
Um,
triumphs. I
yeah,
call them triumphs.
we'll call them the triple lands here. Anyways,
Yeah.
but yeah, 4 colors seems like you were saying that too. Like imagining a 4 color deck, like um, I mean that's kind of crazy. So and what I'm actually curious now. You know, Zendikar is the land set, and traditionally Zendikar had the pay 1 life fetch lands. You know, the fetch lands
Right.
that are
Right.
obviously we're going to be losing the awesome Ravnica lands, which is going to make me. That's the only thing I'm sad to see rotate out because I just don't like to be limited by land. I want to build. I do want to build 4 color decks, and that
Yeah.
going away is going to be sad. But yeah, well,
No, but I mean, like the triumph is good. Like I think the key with the triumph
yeah,
is like understanding that turn two,
yeah,
right? Your turn two has to be like a really ridiculous 1-drop, and that
right,
was the thing that like you have to be able to understand. So like in this
yeah.
case,
Or you're
what I was
controlling, and
looking at,
yeah, you can't be tempo
right?
with triomes.
No,
If
no,
yeah,
definitely not.
yeah,
But like in this adventure deck, right? It's
mhm.
all of the key adventure guys from uh Eldraine,
It must be
which
the rare cycle. They made one or myth. Is it mythic? Is Bone Crusher Giant mythic? He must be, yeah.
yep. So it
Yeah,
was Bone Crushers, it was Edgewald Innkeeper, it
yeah.
was
Was it
the
black?
Brazen Borrower, it was the Love Struck Beast, it
Okay.
was pretty much all your big
So
drops,
it wasn't
right?
running black then. It was green, white, red,
Yeah,
blue.
yeah. I mean, it was green, white, blue, and red.
So no black.
And they no black, but they threw the white in there. What was the white for?
I mean, there's like Fairy
Yeah,
Godmother and like the
yeah,
actually
Fairy
white has the
Godmother.
worst one is Giant Killer.
It was your simple 1-drops,
Yeah.
and yeah, and yeah, the
Which
Giant
I
Killer.
guess that's part of the mythic. That's like the worst of all of them, I would think. That least format impacting was that one, the
Right.
Giant Killer.
But sitting there and being like, all right, he's got like one Lucky Clover out, right?
Oh yeah,
And then
Value
all this,
Town. Yeah, Lucky
yeah, it's
Clover.
Value Town. It's
Hmm.
every single card that you're playing,
Yeah,
especially when it's Brazen Borrower.
we've all played the
Because
Lucky
all of a
Clover
sudden,
deck or seen it. It was annoying. It was just it used to be just time or adventures, but I guess if you go ahead add white, why not, right?
why
Lands
not?
there.
Yeah. So
Um,
I think that's a thing. I don't think that it's a bad thing. I
yeah,
thought the Silesian version
yep,
that that Croquis was running was actually really good.
yep,
Because he was playing Loxodon and
right,
also trying to ramp through it.
yeah,
But he was running up against a bunch of things that, like, you know, people with super aggro stuff.
yeah. I think I saw a lot of mono green today. A lot of mono green. I think I like 2 or 3 of my matchups was mono green. I did play. I played Jund Sacrifice without Cauldron Familiar, which is the last card we haven't talked about on the ban list, by the way.
Oh my
Uh,
God. I don't even want to talk about it.
you
Like,
hate that card, huh? Yeah,
no, I love the card. Like, I think it's silly.
yeah,
Like when it comes down to it, they ban a 1-drop cat.
yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I don't know. Like, if they wanted to really just take out Jund Sacrifice, they would have done Witch Oven over the cat. Obviously, that would just annihilate that as an archetype. That would have been gone.
Right. It would have stopped the entire thing. They didn't need
Yeah.
to take the cat out. They need to take the oven out.
But now it's still semi-viable. I mean, it's just not as degenerate. I think like because I played it today and it's still using Claim the Firstborn with the Cat Oven and the
Right.
Woe Strider and the Mayhem Devil.
Right.
But it
And you're still losing creatures. You're still like fighting
Yeah.
up against stuff.
And the priestess of the forgotten gods, but it didn't beat me. I beat him, and like I didn't feel as scared because it just when you have a cat oven in the play with the mayhem devil, right there, that's like 3 damage to anything you
Every
want.
single turn.
Yeah, and then it just ends
Every
very
turn.
quickly there. So it just felt, it really did feel like a balanced nerf to that deck. Like the deck is still good. It's not going to take over the format. It's going to be less consistent.
See,
Um,
but we talk about it being a balanced nerf. A
yeah,
balanced nerf is garbage. A balanced nerf just means that this deck now sucks,
it
right?
doesn't
A
suck. It's
balanced
still
nerf
valid.
is when you get hit in the head with the nerf football and you go, damn it, I got hit in the head with the nerf football. It doesn't hurt enough for you to even turn to the guy who threw it
Yeah.
and tell him you threw a nerf football at my head. You just turn to the side and look at him. You don't even have to say anything because it was so dumb, right? So we got a lot of good bands,
Yeah.
a lot of good bands.
Yeah. So are you saying of the four in standard, is the Cauldron Film one you do not agree with?
Now, I'm just saying that like there is potential that the cat could have made it through the bands.
I don't know, man, because I think when I think about the best decks in standard right now, Jund Sacrifice, or I'm sorry, Rakdos Sacrifice was up there. I think it was kept in check by Growth Spiral decks that ran Ugin and things like that. Um, I mean, I don't know if you play it, but I played Rakdos against Red Deck wins, and it's kind of funny how easy that matchup can be sometimes for you because
Well,
Claim the Firstborn is so good against them.
well, we talked about that too. Like I hated that deck as much as I hated,
Yeah,
reclamation decks.
right.
But I think that there are enough cards currently in standard that would have actually made that deck not viable. I just don't think that we actually spent enough time on it because we kept looking at fighting against wilderness reclamations,
In Growth
right?
Spiral decks, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd hate, and you know what? When Cauldron Familiar is going to be around for a long time too, so that's an Eldraine. That's not rotating out. That's the one card on this list that actually is not rotating out. Now that I look at it, so and one of the cards that really countered Cauldron Familiar is rotating out, which is Cry of the Canarium. So we'll see if they change their mind, and I think they're like they said, this is kind of an experimental form. This was really shocking for me, but I really like the reasons, and I don't know if we talked about this yet. But they're mentioning, people are at home now. We're not going to the local game store right now. We're stuck here. Magic the Gathering Arena is our one outlet to play this game, and people are playing it a lot more than they would normally. And for me, like for a while there, I watched sports; those are gone too. So like this was it for me. So I was probably playing a lot more than I normally do. So
Yeah. Hey, guess what? I made Mythic.
he made Mythic. That kind of says it right there. So it's
Yeah.
like I'm okay with the format getting shaken. I'm okay that decks that were quote unquote janky are maybe now going to be more viable, that we can look at them. We can dust off some of these things that kind of died on the operating table and maybe try to dust them off and see if they're, now that the power level has gone down in the format significantly.
Listen, so like even with that,
Yeah,
cycling back to right what you just said,
right.
like there are so many good decks
Hmm.
that are potentially going to kill the meta
Yeah.
right now, right? So like what I was exploring today again is Orzhov enchantment, right? I
Hmm.
played a lot of these like combo enchantment decks
Right.
based on
Your Golgari one got you pretty far, by the way, too.
oh, my Golgari got me up through Diamond, and then I played Green Stumpy just to get me to
The
Mythic.
Mythic, yeah.
And yeah, but like my Golgari it's super simple. I actually played it again today. Just
Hmm.
I ran it back. I was like, all right, I'll run it as it is,
Yeah.
and it was
It's like
good.
a whole
It
new
was
world.
yeah, no, it was. It was fun. I actually I took one match with it,
Yeah.
and people were probably like, "What is this guy doing?"
Yeah.
But like that same feeling. But what we were saying, via text earlier
Yeah.
is like bolus
Yeah, Bolos, I think the
scenario.
Grixis deck is going to be back. It's going to be significant because what did Grixis lose? Nothing. This band only helps Grixis. So,
Right, right. And the thing is with the Grixis
mhm.
is how to start like actually like stirring the pot. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like the only thing that you have to start considering again is like some of the random stuff that's been thrown in since.
Right.
But
One of the cards that same to your what was that hexproof card we just talked about? Lazotep
plating,
plating.
yeah.
Yeah, that'll probably be back, and the Dreadhorde, the 2-drop Dreadhorde enchantment. Uh,
Mhm.
that card was so nerfed by Teferi. Like, feels so
Oh,
bad to
I've
get
seen
your
it 3 times
yeah.
in my mono blacks that I'm playing
Oh,
against.
so that's making a comeback because Teferi's gone. Yeah, Dreadhorde
Yeah,
Invasion. Yeah, so I'm really
yep.
excited to put that card back into a Grixis shell because I love that
But
card.
in my mono black shell, I have 4 agonizings and I've got 4 duresses in the sideboard,
Yeah,
and I'm basically I'm running a super aggro black
yeah.
mono black deck,
Which
but
fell off the face of the earth too, but now should probably make a
right.
resurgence. Yeah,
But it's so much fun because, like, I was talking, I sent you the deck list.
yeah,
One of the key things is I have 4 duresses in the sideboard,
right.
4 agonizing remorses main deck,
Yeah,
4 duresses sideboard.
yeah. So like their hand is going to be Swiss cheese.
Yeah,
If they're playing any kind of slower control-y type deck, the duresses is where you want to be right there.
yep. 4
Cards.
heartless acts
Yeah,
main board,
yeah.
3 eliminates sideboard.
Yeah, because like now, like Eliminate probably lost a little bit of its luster here if Teferi's no longer an obvious target for it. So that'll
Yeah,
be
but
interesting.
Narset is still huge, and we'll see like who else shows up.
Yeah. No, I mean, one thing about Nurse says she can't defend herself. She's got no defensive magnum. Teferi could actually at least defend himself.
Yeah, she's
So,
not growing at all.
yeah. So I don't know if you want to talk about Historic. I know that's a format you don't really play. I play it, but it's the same stuff. I mean, it's kind of funny. I'll just make this one observation about Historic and we'll move on. Is that
No, it's good because like I agree. Like after your run through Historic here in this last Open
yeah.
that they just had, like it was fun. Did we even get to talk about? I saw the end of Seth Mansfield's run.
Oh,
Did
are you
we
talking
talk
about the
about
Players
that?
Pro Tour or finals?
Yeah, they the players on the players open here on Arena.
Okay. What was he running?
He was running 4-color Reclamation.
Oh, yes. Which is a
Yes,
deck I tried to port into Historic with moderate success, I guess. I don't know.
and I caught him. He was 6-1. I caught the last match live,
Mhm.
and he won. And it was like
So he seemed
Seth
$2,000 richer
Manfield.
right there, huh?
Oh, dude, he was like 2 grand in the pocket. Woo,
Nice.
payday.
Nice.
And you're like, yeah, that's what you want to feel like.
Yeah. Instead
But
of
it
like
was
me,
like,
who went 0-2 with very bad feeling
but
there.
that was the thing. That's
Yeah.
what you talked about. You were like, I'm gonna go into day 2 with the 4-color Reclamation deck, and you went in with Keltis.
Yes, I did. I didn't stick to my guns. I don't know.
I didn't know that you were like you went to Keltis until like I was watching you, and I was like,
Yeah. That was funny because that was the one I thought I was. But what did I end up playing against? I played a blue-white control deck, which I killed myself by accident because I think I was so tired that day, having played like I don't know 8 hours of really intense and
oh,
and when you're playing those a day one arena, they're not going to assume you know how to combo off. So I had to go through the Keltis combo when most people would in on ladder they're going to quit. But that was exhausting. So my brain was fried. I can understand now. These players always talk about like, oh, their stamina, like they lose it because it's tough. Yeah.
yeah. No, but I mean, like when you play the Keltis combo is a ridiculous combo. It's not as easy to navigate
No.
as the Reclamation deck.
Yeah. There's a lot of
Right?
you have to do so many button clicks. I'm sure like the button click counter is way higher on that deck.
Even forget the button click. It's like you have to be able to understand where all of your cards are, not only in your hand, in the graveyard, in your library,
Yeah.
right? So you are constantly in this process of saying, here's my mana, here's where my cards are. Like Keltis combo is one of the most advanced things that I've ever seen take place.
Yeah.
So when you're like, oh, this is easy, it's a Keltis combo, I do these things. And it was like,
Give me
No,
mono black, please.
yeah,
Right?
mono black, mono green, mono anything. Like I love
Yes.
mono, right?
Yeah.
I'll go 2 color, I'll go 3 color. I
Yeah.
know my combos, but
Yeah,
like
and if you wanted to, you play those decks. It's not your jam. It's fine. I guess I like playing solitaire. I also played the obnoxious eggs deck way back when. That was the same kind of thing.
but that
So
was the same thing. I hated Teamer. I
yeah,
hated the
yeah,
reclamation decks.
yeah,
I hated everything about it
yeah,
because it was this whole idea of like constantly floating mana.
yeah.
It was constantly like saying that your turn is not your turn, right?
No, your
Like
turn's
I
my
don't
turn.
even care about like Simic Flash. I don't care about Flash anything. Like
Yeah,
Flash in and of itself, like I get you. You're gonna try to do this all the time. I'm
right.
gonna do my own thing, whatever.
Yeah.
But like when you're like, my turn is my turn, and your turn is my turn.
Yes.
Note your deck.
Yes. Yeah.
Your turn is my turn. Um,
Yep.
like it gets to that point where you're like, you know what? There is no fun in this. Like, and then you start like creeping towards that idea of like red deck wins, and you're like,
You're like
I'm
it's
just
calling to you, beckoning to you.
yeah,
Me
like
and
I'm
Zach are
gonna
both
find
anti-red
the
deck. We're not those kind of
biggest,
people.
fastest, reddest deck to beat your ass.
Yeah.
And you're like, but I don't want to do that,
No.
right?
Then I've admitted defeat essentially when I do that. It's like
Which
I've
is
given up.
why, and we have it on
Oh
record,
no! Don't bring this up. I gotta hide my shame.
you played
I
goblins.
played goblins. I was kind of desperate. I actually tried goblins. So, albeit though that goblins deck is not it's not your red deck wins. It's kind of a combo deck, which, but I'm not never again, never again. Like I said,
Never again.
yeah,
Even though it has some skill to navigate, but
yeah, yeah. No, mountains are my least favorite. I guess I don't know. I just not a fan of mountains.
I
That's
think
why I live in Florida, right?
the red color is just a little aggressive.
That's it. That's it. I'm a peaceful person. Even a red is
Like,
technically my favorite color outside of Magic, just as a color in the color palette. But not in Magic. No, thank you.
no, I'm gonna say though, like the way that things are progressing though, like there is so much good stuff that's
Yeah.
about to happen.
Oh, predictions for your, let's say, top 3 decks in the next post rotation here.
All right, so any Nisa deck right now,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say is like number one.
Number
Now
one.
you're gonna look at that and say, well, that's like super wide open, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, she's still one of
any
the most broken things left to do right now. That's for sure.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. You ramp to Nisa, you get more ramp, you do whatever you want.
Right.
That means Uros of any sort, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Your hands down like far above the opponent. So,
Yeah.
and even in that, when you're ramping,
Yeah.
right? If you're going up against a red deck wins or a mono black deck,
Mhm.
right? Most of the time, you're playing something on turn 1 or turn 2
Yeah.
that potentially has the capability of blocking
Right.
or nixing, countering, or
Right.
some other thing like one of their early threats.
So
Right?
Nissa decks are going to be number one then.
Right.
What about number 2, number 3?
Uh, so number two, I would say is probably going to be something again along not like so mono white has some really weird stuff going on right now, right?
Mono white. I mean, it might just be, we could just say mono decks because it does seem like that. Mono white, mono black, mono green, mono red.
Yeah, but I don't want to like lump them all together. I
Yeah.
think that there's a hierarchy there, and I think that for some reason, like mono black, I agree with mono black. I think mono black is a really strong deck,
Yeah.
but I think that there's going to be a way that mono white shows up just ahead of the curve, and it's going to be something that somebody finds out because it's going to go against like what the meta is going to.
So it's a deck we
Because
have not seen, but it's going to involve white.
right, there's going to be a protectionist kind of thing,
Mhm.
and they're going to like find this like niche between like finding creatures, finding protection, and finding ways to just close it all out.
Okay.
Right. I think the protection is key. I
Yeah.
think we're in this weird state right now that again, like you're either sitting there saying, I need removal,
Yeah.
I need card draw, I need protection, right? We're looking back at the benefits of the state of each color, right?
Hmm.
So if you look at the primary deck, you have to think about the counterpoints, like
Yeah.
who gets there faster, right? And who gets there wider or who does what.
Yeah.
Like mono white is pretty seriously like um something to consider.
Okay. So that's number 2. What about number 3 then?
Oh man.
Number 3 might be like, it's going to be one of those like where they usually they do like tier 1 and then tier 2 is about 8 decks. There's going to probably be 8 viable. And I think that's what happens when the power level in a format goes down or the card pool gets wider, one of the two, that the amount of viable decks goes up a lot because there's no true overpowering deck that just guarantees a high win rate.
So if it's not a color palette
Yeah.
per se, what do you think is going to be the meta outside of a color palette?
I think we're definitely going to see more aggro. This format is going to get far more aggressive because the control decks are going to be slower without Growth Spiral, without Teferi. Those are 2 really important cards in the control deck arsenal. So we're going to see, and I think you're right. I think it's going to be monocolored decks. Mono green, mono black, mono white. Mono red obviously is always going to be there. Nothing's going to really
So
change.
what do you think
there.
about the potential for like the old hand hate Demir?
I don't know. I mean, the Demir Flash. I was experimenting with that, but it was still
No, but
losing really hard to
not
Uro.
even Flash, but the hand hate Demir.
Well,
Because
I think if it was, it'd be Grixis. I do think that there's going to be a Grixis deck, and I'm going to be brewing it, and it's going to be good. So it'll be thought erasure is still a thing. The Dread
no, Thought
Horde.
Eraser's huge.
Yeah, and now it has agonizing response, which is a really good card, and Nicol Bolas and Crocs is still a thing too. So, I mean, I think Grixis has a lot of tools that are pretty good. Maybe we'll see
I think
interesting cards.
you have to
Wow.
really think about the curve right there.
Yeah.
Like
Well, I mean, that you have a bunch of awesome 2-drops. You have Agonizing Remorse, you have Thought Erasure. There's a whole slew of 2-drop removal right now between Eliminate,
right,
Grasp of Darkness, Ingress, Rampage, whatever. You name your 2-drop removal, and you got it. There's all
right.
kinds.
And you got Arcturus, the dude that gets you all your cards.
Yep.
The legendary dude.
Oh yeah,
Um,
the 3/2 Menace guy.
yep.
The Half Truths, amazing card
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I mean, why don't we run a Grixis Yorion show? I haven't seen that actually. You
Hey,
could
I
do
don't
it.
know. Let's brew it.
Yeah, right. So, any final thoughts before we close out this on the bands here?
Honestly, I think that the bands were solid. I
Yeah,
don't think that there's anything that anybody is sad about. I think
yeah,
that everybody that I've watched or witnessed
yeah,
currently, even if there were the obnoxious people that were like, this is obnoxious. You're like,
right.
you obviously are a really good player and you don't need those 5 cards,
No,
or 4 cards.
right.
Just move on.
Yeah,
Figure out what the next set is because like if you're playing digital Magic,
yeah,
right? It's that easy.
yeah.
Substitute out, you know?
Yep. My final thought is that I like this approach that Magic has taken during COVID. Again, going back to the amount of games we're playing and how fast the format gets solved now. So like just by keeping the power level lower, it's just gonna. I hope it doesn't turn into a rock paper scissors things. I do dislike that though. Like where if I get matched up against this deck, I'm gonna win. If I get matched up against that deck, I'm gonna lose. It's just that easy. So that is one issue I do have. I mean, if the meta, I think that's what I got burned out on Modern for a while because there was like 20 good decks in Modern, and like one deck would really be good against some decks and really terrible at others. So
Yeah, but 20 good decks is so much better than 2.
yes, absolutely. I mean, I guess I would like to have 5 or 6. I always like to make the anti-meta deck for sure. Like I know that I'm going to see these 5 or 6 decks, so I like to fine tune my deck to try to beat those 5 or 6 decks. And if I feel like I have at least a 45%, 50% chance to beat any of the 5 top decks, then I'm in a good place. But
Yeah.
but when
And
it
then
gets
there's
to,
me who doesn't care about the percentages, but
yes,
just wants to brew a deck to have
yeah,
fun and then beat people's butts.
yeah,
So like the whole goal
yeah,
right now is that we have that opportunity.
yeah, that's
So
right.
like
For 2 months at
why
least,
not
it's gonna be
brew a
fun.
deck and have the blast?
Yeah, yeah. So, all right. Well, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you like this, we do deck brews, we do drafts sometimes. Subscribe to our channel. We do Twitch as well. So, we're not croakies, but we do have fun and we do get to Mythic and with different ideas. So
Hey, we got it all.
that's right. All right.
Jack of all trades.
Thanks for watching, guys.